Should we start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, welcome to Know Your Alumni, a space where we bring you inspiring journeys, experiences, and insights from those who have once walked in the same halls. Let's dive into their stories. Joining me today is Shruti from batch of 2017. Welcome, Shruti, and we're so happy to have you here, and thank you for doing a podcast with us. So, before we jump into the campus stories, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, your hobbies, and all?
Hi, Joshita. Thanks for the introduction and warm welcome. So,
Thank you.
I'm Shruti Umar. I was from the Computer Science and Engineering batch, and I graduated in 2021. And since then, I've been working at Google as a software engineer. So, and I recently switched teams within Google. Now I'm part of the Cloud Memory Store team in GCP. And outside work, I like going to the gym, playing badminton a bit, reading. Yeah.
Okay, so you were a part of these clubs, badminton and all, when you were in the college.
I wasn't part of the badminton club. I was part of TFS and Akshar though.
Oh, so the same club, where, right? The podcast, right?
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So, what was your first day on campus like, and how did you compare it with your expectations?
Oh, so I still remember the first day at campus. Basically, this was the first time I was going to stay in a hostel. So I was crying, my parents were leaving. But I think after that, I bonded up really well with everyone, and we had a 21-day orientation program. So that was amazing. Like, all the seniors introduced us to the clubs, and the batchmates also gelled really well. So it was surprising how fast I adjusted.
It was like very fast, the 4 years also.
Yeah, and the worst part is we lost the last one because of COVID. So the other branches
Right.
like civil and mechanical would come to campus, like they were in the campus for some lab related courses, but the computer science folks were at home.
Yeah. Okay, so can you share one of your most memorable moments in the campus life?
Okay, so I think one moment that I always recall is around the workshop area in Nila campus. Like, it was the mechanical workshop, the
Manogata.
one I don't remember the building name, but it's an amphitheater style like building, right? There are a lot of
Yeah,
stairs, and
yeah.
then in between there's a triangle. So we had a set like uh, what do you say, a jagrata kind of thing there once. We were awake all night. We played games, danced, and then we had an antakshari that lasted overnight, like till 7 a.m. And then we finally ended up having breakfast, and then we left. So it was an overnight event. So I really miss that.
So with your friends and all.
Sorry, didn't understand that.
With it was with your friends, right?
Yeah, I think there were many people. It was mostly our batch and probably a bunch of seniors, but yeah, just a fun night.
Okay. So how did your college experience help you grow and change as a person?
Right. So I think the best part about IIT Palakkad is the diverse crowd. So there are folks from all states, and you get to work with. First of all, you get to be fluent in English. That really helps in corporate life, because especially most of us coming from our school backgrounds are mostly fluent in our native language. So working with others from diverse backgrounds, learning to uh, just put yourself
Knowing
out
different
there.
cultures also.
Yeah, knowing different cultures, being open to that, and working with people who have different opinions with you, and then coming to a conclusion, conflict resolution as part of clubs, and being respectful. So I think soft skills wise, it was great. And even the technical skills or hard skills that you're interested in can be developed as part of clubs. So overall, it's a great opportunity, and you should
So it's like an
grab.
overall development.
Yeah, definitely. Like, grab every opportunity out there.
Yeah. Okay. So did you join any clubs, organizations, or extracurricular activities, and which one of them had a major impact, if you did?
So I think TFS and Akshar had a major impact on me, I would say. So we would organize sessions in Akshar, And for TFS, I think it was more on a leadership side. I served as the co-editor for some duration along with one of my batchmates. So they're just coordinating with the whole team and then making sure that the editions are published and then covering everything that's going on campus. So both were a good mix.
Okay, so also the technical skills, being the co-editor, it helped you.
Yeah, like writing, and especially that time I was interested in writing. And I forgot to mention YAC actually. So the coding club, I think we founded it in the third year. Then on I was a part of it.
Okay. So, did you have a turning point or a major lesson learned during your time in your college?
I don't think there's a single turning point. I think it was a holistic journey. I can't find one inflection point after which everything changed, but learning time management, like managing time in academics and a bit of competitive programming and clubs, that was important, and then working with everyone was important. So I don't think there was a turning point as such. The overall journey was very exciting and wholesome.
Right. Okay, so what advice would you give a student entering the college now?
Okay, so one thing is don't be shy, interact with everyone. Sometimes, like, especially I am still a very reserved person. You will not put yourself out there, probably be afraid of failures. So, college is a very safe space. You will not get that kind of time again in life. Once you start working, the majority of your time will go towards your job, and you'll still find time for yourself, but it's harder in general. So the kind of opportunities that you have, the freedom that you have in college, just explore everything, whatever interests you, whatever even remotely interests you, just give it a try. Yeah, don't hold yourself back. That's the only advice.
Okay, so can you describe your journey during the placement season and like what was the most challenging thing and how did you overcome it?
So since I'm from the computer science department, I can only speak for them. The most challenging part is of course DSA, because once DSA is the biggest piece, once it falls in place, everything else falls in place automatically. So yeah, just covering the breadth of all the topics, and just knowing DSA is not enough. You have to be interview ready. So you have to learn to come up with multiple approaches, describe them to the interviewer. It's a collaborative activity. Now that I take interviews, it's sometimes the candidate is going in the right direction, but they are not able to describe it clearly. So having the right communication and then taking their feedback, and of course having a good DSA foundation. So yeah, that was the challenging part.
So how did you overcome it?
So I think the best way to overcome it is through experience. Just apply to the companies that you are interested in the campus, and then apply a lot off campus. Like, be open to all the opportunities on LinkedIn, or check the career pages of the common companies that you are interested in. Keep applying, and once you land the opportunities, slowly the fear of interviewing will fade, and yeah, then it will get easier.
Okay, so how did you handle your first interview?
So the first, like, in-person interview.
Yeah, like the aptitude test, technical tests, coding rounds and all.
Right, yeah, even coding rounds were challenging initially. So I think definitely I did not crack many of those initially. So coding rounds are also challenging. You have to learn to, go through all the questions. Sometimes you'll be stuck at a few and they'll be the hard ones, and probably the easier ones were going to come up next. And overall your final score matters. It doesn't matter if you solved the most challenging problem that no one else did. So yeah, just managing your time. It's just like an exam. So giving your best, whatever you can score out of it, even if just partial test cases are succeeding. So that was challenging. And to your first question, I think I don't remember my first interview, but towards the end I can say that yeah, like controlling your nerves and keeping track of the time, they are important.
Just staying calm at the right moment.
Yeah, like it's the interviewer is also there to help you. They are there to guide you through the problem. So it's not like they are against you. So just yeah, keeping all your nerves aside and calmly focusing on the problem will help you crack it in the best way.
So, like, do you remember the hardest question that you felt, and how did you approach that answer?
Right. So I think the hardest question was the one where I did not crack the interview. So it was part of coordination. Initially, coordination came to our campus, and I was the only one who qualified the online test. The questions were really difficult, and I think I just solved one and a half, another solved one, and that was the only distinguishing factor. But my interview was terrible. In the interview, I could not even give a partial approach. I'm not sure what happened. I think probably the question felt way harder than it was. I don't remember it now, but yeah, that went really bad. And just within half an hour, I got to know that you have been rejected.
Okay, so were there any specific sessions, boot camps, or events that made a difference in your placement readiness?
Right. So I think there weren't boot camps at that time. So when our placement season started, we were already at home because of the pandemic. So yeah, there was no boot camp as such.
Okay, so any special help from the clubs or anything that you had?
So the coding club would hold contests, or in general there was a Discord channel to discuss problems. So the community is there, just that you'll have to put in the effort towards it. Yeah.
Okay. So, what resources or strategies did you find the most useful during your placement preparation?
So I think I found LeetCode and InterviewBit really helpful, and having done the DSA courses, you know what are the topics that you have to cover, so ensuring you have breadth and then slowly building depth also. I think that helped a lot. So if you are already into competitive programming, it will become easier. But if not, these resources are sufficient because the interview questions are medium or medium to hard. They are not extremely hard like competitive programming contests. So yeah, just knowing what the level of the interviews are these days, that is sufficient.
So, if you get a good grip at DSA, then you're like half prepared.
Yeah, half prepared.
Half.
And the other is having good communication and then just cracking the HR related round at the end.
Right. Okay, so what skills and qualities do you think contributed the most to your placement success?
Okay. So I think I would say DSA and communication skills equally. So there were a few folks in my batch who were really good but had trouble communicating their approach or mindset. So thankfully that wasn't an issue, and that again, both of them come from the campus life, that that we got an opportunity to work hard in the campus to study DSA and got a good community, profs as well as all the batchmates and the club. And the other is just the communication bit of it, that you're already communicating in the campus for so many other activities, so that just translated into when it was needed for interviews. So yeah. Those were
Okay,
the
so
two
without
things.
knowing in your campus life, you had prepared. Like, it's a journey
Yeah.
that you go through.
Right, agree.
So, how did you balance placements with academics and other responsibilities?
Right. So I think I definitely gave placements higher priority, and academics took a back seat at that time. And yeah, I would just prioritize when quizzes are around or assignments are around. Yeah, that's the thing. And then because when placement started, we were already at home. I think at that time I did not have many responsibilities.
Okay, so what advice would you give for the present final year students that are sitting for the placement?
Right. So I would just say that work hard, focus on your weak areas, which you know that okay, this topic, let's say dynamic programming requires more preparation from my side. So cover the commonly asked questions there, and then read up about interview experiences in lead code, because often these companies have question banks and there are chances that you'll get the same question or similar question. So do study topic wise as well as according to the company that you are going to be interviewing for, and keep applying off campus as well. Like many good opportunities can be landed off campus, and have mock interviews with each other, give each other feedback. So yeah, with this cycle I think surely you'll be able to crack it, and have patience. Like don't lose faith if a few interviews don't go well here and there.
So you need to be able to change your preferences according to what each company needs.
Right. What do you mean by preferences?
Like every company has a different preference on how it wants its candidates. So you need to be able to
Yeah.
mold yourself according to that company.
Right. So the preference would mostly be that you're good at DSA coding and have good communication skills. But yeah, the topics that each company asks could vary. So since there are so many interview experiences online, you know what, maybe you can already predict what question they'll ask. So at least it can give you a good advantage. But if not, definitely having a breadth of topics covered is important.
Okay. So what was your transition like from joining the college to like joining Google?
So even I onboarded to Google remotely. Sadly, offices hadn't opened up at that time. So I was the only new joinee in my team, and there were two seniors. So I thought they'll be really busy. So I would just approach them with my doubts, and there was no fun factor involved. Probably there was a fun Friday, but again, everything being virtual, there was no person to person connect. And when the
Okay.
offices opened up, then I realized the vibrant culture at Google and how good everyone really is as a person. And it's not just about the work. So that was one good thing that I realized when offices opened up. And in terms of onboarding, I think any company that you join, your seniors are really helpful. So just try your best. Don't reach out for every small thing. Try your best. Try for some time, and then reach out with whatever you attempted, and then everyone will be happy to help.
So you would have some expectations before joining into the job. So like did those expectations match the reality of this corporate life?
Yeah, I think the expectations I had were really low, and everything actually turned out to be way more better. My team was really encouraging, and there are no one judges you based on your level. That okay, the idea that you're giving, they'll not have biases against it. Let's say probably if you're a junior or something like that. So I think everyone is really open to listen, especially at Google, and irrespective of their level on the ladder, even if they are really senior, they'll be open to your ideas. They'll let you experiment. You will be assigned projects that are slightly outside your comfort zone. So I think all those actually turned out to be way better than my expectations.
Okay. So like what skills from college were like especially valuable at Google?
Right. So I think it was a new environment. So just the coding skills are definitely valuable. And other than that, there is a slight learning curve. So sometimes, like nowadays, probably folks do study system design in college, but otherwise, understanding system architecture or how do you design code that's maintainable and extensible and clean, well tested. These are some skills that probably are not touched upon that much in college. So we had a course on software design in the last year where we built a product, like the entire class of 30 students built a product together. So that was similar to what you do in a corporate setting where there's a big team, everybody is assigned different features and you are working on it, trying to ensure that the code quality and test quality is high. So yeah, this is slightly similar, but otherwise there is a slight learning curve.
So, as a recruiter, how does the interview process go?
So I'm just an interviewer and not a recruiter. So the interview process is that there are two types of interviews. One is just a DSA one, and the one is a DSA plus googliness and leadership. So the DSA part is always 45 minutes and an extra 15 minutes for the googliness and leadership round. So in the DSA interview, it's pretty straightforward. We share the problem statement and then ask the candidate to share their thoughts, then optimize on the time or space complexity, or probably share multiple approaches. And once that's finalized, then they implement an approach. And sometimes there can be two problems, two medium problems, or just one hard problem. And
Okay,
for
so
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Right, and for GNL, it's mostly generic questions like how do you handle conflict resolution, or tell me a specific example when you went above and beyond for something, or tell me an example where you did not share the same opinion as everyone else and what did you do, etc. So some of the questions where again your college experiences will help.
Okay, so what pattern have you observed in the tech field change in the 5 years?
Right. So the like introduction of LLMs, that's the biggest breakthrough so far. So earlier the focus was like you would resolve all the errors or issues on your own, and now you have support from LLMs for almost everything. So that's a big change, and I think people are still trying to leverage the power of LLMs and haven't fully been able to do so. Like even in our regular day-to-day work, we keep hearing how can you incorporate LLMs best so that they help you be productive. All the mundane tasks that you had, let's say you are wasting probably a few hours trying to resolve an error, and then the LLM just gives you an answer in a few prompts. So just that is the biggest shift.
So, one of the most popular questions, what do you think? AI has started to generate jobs or is it creating layoffs and all?
So the pattern of the jobs will change. Like probably you'll have to build agents or train models. So I think the jobs will remain, just the nature of the job will change.
Okay. So, what does an average day at Google look like? Is it really the same as shown in social media?
Right. So what's shown in social media is a subset. Uh, like all the perks and the amazing food and office vibe, all the facilities, they are definitely true. But the other side they don't show is the like sometimes you have to push to meet deadlines. There's an on-call rotation. If there's any production issue, you are expected to be available even let's say on the weekend or probably even late at night. Sometimes even for India folks it's late at night and you have to resolve those issues. So yeah, that side of corporate is definitely there, and that is fun. That is often not shown because that's not the rosy side. Only the rosy side is shown online.
Okay, so what advice can you share for the students aspiring to work at Google or similar big tech companies?
Right, so just focus on DSA. DSA is the most important aspect. Then your CV, your projects, all those are secondary. So yeah, focus on DSA and crack interviews. That's what especially the big tech companies, that's what they are looking for. And anything else you can learn as part of the job.
So we need to explore as much as possible in the college.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was great to interact with you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Joshita.
so-
Likewise.
That's it for the today's episode of Know Your Alumni. A big thank you to our guest for sharing her journey insights with us. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories from our alumni community. Until next time, keep learning and keep growing.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having me. See
Thank you. Bye.